Hi guys! So in today's video, I'm going to be doing my 2023 book tag. So I got all of these questions from Destiny Sidwell's video, so definitely go watch her video. I'll link it down in the description. I loved it, and I cut out some of the questions because I didn't read a lot of books and I didn't want there to be like a lot of repeats. So there's not as many questions, but still a good amount. So today is December 22nd that I'm filming this, so I still have about a week left of the year to finish my reading goal. So I will read some books this year that won't be in this video, but that's okay because it's okay. But as of right now, I've read 34 books out of 40. And if you're watching this video, you probably watch other booktubers, and you know that 40 books is such a small goal, I feel like, for a booktuber. But I'm still in school. I'm a senior this year. I'll be graduating this year finally, and then I can focus more on reading. So I didn't set my goal too high this year because I knew it was needed to be realistic. Because last year I set like 50 or 60 goals, and it was like I finished 20 books, I think. So I was just being more realistic. And if my bookshelf looks bare, it's because all the books are over here in a pile for this video. Anyways, let's get started. First question is most disappointing read. It hurts me to say this, but it's so true. It is Magnolia Parks for me. I was so excited to read this book, and it just put me in a slump. Like, I didn't want to read it. I read this in a video, and you can see my reactions to it. But it was just disappointing because I wanted to love it so much, but I just really was not into it because of how like heartbreaking and frustrating it was. I did really love her writing, and I was connected to the characters. It was just making me like frustrated and depressed. So kind of disappointing. The next thing is an overhyped book. I'm gonna have to say Every Summer After. I had really high hopes for this book, but there's something that happened in it, and I was just like, I just don't think there was any comeback back from that. That just kind of ruined it for me, and I just wasn't as connected to it as I have been with like other cute little summer romances. It was a good storyline, and I've heard that it's kind of the same as Love in Other Words, but I haven't read that yet, so I think that I would enjoy that one more probably than this one, but it was still good, you know. Next is an underdog book. This is a book that I really liked, but didn't get as much hype as I feel like it deserved. And before I show you this book, I want you to know that it is not like an amazing groundbreaking book. Like, there has been people talking about it. I just really enjoyed it. Like, my reactions while I was reading this was just like so giggly, and I don't know, I just really liked it. That is Practice Makes Perfect. Along with the cover of this book, it's so beautiful. I love the pink in the flower shop and then the bad boy and good girl vibes. This book was so good. I read it over summer and it was perfect. I was on vacation and I bought it while I was on vacation, and I just started reading it. It was so good. If you haven't read this, you need to read it. I know that When in Rome, the same characters and that are in here, and you're supposed to read that one first, but I did not do that. So I definitely want to read that next year. But yeah, I feel like this didn't get enough hype as it deserved. There was a few like cringy things in it, so it's not like a perfect book, but I just really enjoyed it. Now, my favorite book couple, I would say there's a few. So starting off with the first one. Yes, Johnny and Shannon. Oh my gosh. When I read this book, I didn't know if I was gonna like it. It's so thick. Like, it's like 5 pounds. And I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this, but I loved this. Johnny and Shannon mean everything to me. Like, this is one of my favorite reads. I haven't finished Keeping 13 yet, but like, you know, just like, I love them. Next, I did finish this series this year, which I have been reading for a few years, honestly, because I didn't want to finish it. But it like is so nostalgic for me because I started reading this series when I started reading, and that would be the Shatter Me series. I'm holding up these two because I feel like these are the main books that really showed. I was about to say the couple, but like, it's kind of a spoiler if you've only read the first 1 or 2 books of Shatter Me, so don't listen to this. Spoiler warning if you haven't read it. Juliet and Aaron, Warner and Juliet, Ella and Aaron. If you know, you know. These 2 books were like the main turning points, especially Restore Me, I think. I don't know, they kind of all like mushed together. There's so many. These are the rest of them right here. They're so, oh, you know, like, I love them. They have like a special place in my heart. All these Shatter Me characters do. And I love that I picked up this series. I'm sad that I finished it, but I loved reading it. And these 2 books are like the main like plot twist type of books of this series, and I just love them. Now, this next book for the favorite couple, this is the last one, I promise, but I didn't realize that I just read this series this year. I literally thought I read it last year, but no, I read this series this year, and that's actually insane to me because it feels like I've known these characters like for years. ACOTAR. Another spoiler, kind of, so I'm holding up this book, favorite couple, because I can't believe I've read this year. Like, that's actually insane. But like, this is like number one this one, and then Binding 13, and then Shatter Me. Anyways, on to the next. Now for my favorite main characters. This kind of ties in with the couples because it's like the couples are usually the main characters. But I'm gonna say Daisy Jones and the Six as the #1 favorite main characters because it is like not even that big of a book, and I just felt so connected to them and their life, and I just loved this book. I just felt so connected and like I knew them so well. The next one for my favorite main characters, I couldn't not put it in here. I still can't believe that I read this year. But anyways, I'm showing all of them because you get to grow so much with each book with the characters and the found family aspect, and I just love them so much. I love this world. Now, I don't have the physical copy of some of these books. I'm just gonna hold up my Kindle because I read this one on my Kindle. A book that surprised me would be Six Scorched Roses. Now that is the novella for The Serpent and the Wings of Night, and that book just surprised me so much. Like, the only novellas that I've read has been from the Shatter Me series, and usually in those it's like not a whole bunch happens. It's just like a filler book of someone else's point of view. But that one was an introduction to 2 new characters that were going to be in The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, which is the second one to The Serpent and the Wings of Night. And I read this in my 24-hour readathon video, so go watch that if you want to see my reactions. But I didn't like it in the beginning, but it just took me by surprise by the end because I was so connected to the characters, and it felt like I had read this like long book, but it wasn't even that long. It was like almost 200 pages. Like, it was like 190 pages. I loved them. New favorite author that I found this year, definitely gonna be Sarah J Maas, because I don't know how I didn't read any of her books last year or the year before. I don't know, I feel like this was really my year that I got into reading and branched out into like fantasy genres and stuff like that. So definitely Sarah J Maas. And of course I read a few of the Throne of Glass, like I said. But yeah, I love her writing. The happiest read of the year, which was actually kind of hard for me to pick because I feel like that could be in like a broad sense of like happiest read of the year. Like that could be like anything. But I remember this one book. I don't have the physical copy, so I read this on my Kindle. That is Done and Dusted, the cute little cowboy romance that has the cutest cover ever. I don't know, when I read that I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did, and I was like kicking my feet and giggling, and it was just really happy read. Like nothing really went wrong. So yeah, I just really enjoyed that book. The most frustrating book that I read this year, you probably already know my answer because I kind of said it at the beginning, but that would be Magnolia Parks. Magnolia and BJ, specifically BJ. So frustrating. I've only read this book out of the Magnolia Parks Daisy Hates universe, but like so frustrating. Anyways, best adaptation, which is like the show or the movie to the book, definitely Daisy Jones and the Six. Are you kidding me? I read this book for video and then I watched the show right after I finished it because I wanted to wait to read this and then watch the show. So I was like already so connected, and then I watched the show and it was so good. So good. The longest book that I read, A Court of Silver Flames. This, I can't believe I read it. I went to go look on my Goodreads to actually find the longest book I read because it tells you, and it tried to tell me Binding 13. But this one has 757 pages. Binding 13 has like 610. So this one is the longest book that I read in 2023. Now the shortest book that I read this year is Find Me, Shadow Me, and Reveal Me, which is the novella in the Shatter Me series. Okay, so this one is Kenji's point of view. I think I liked it. I don't really remember. Like I said, all the Shatter Me books kind of just mushed together, but I do love Kenji very much. So I know we've had some repeats already, I think, but this one is going to be some more repeats because it is my favorite cover. That would be Done and Dusted. It is just so cute. Like, it is so cute. I love this cover. And like I mentioned, Practice Makes Perfect. I don't know, I just really love this cover. It's not like a crazy amazing cover, but I love flowers, I love pink, and it just holds a special place in my heart and I love it. A book that I haven't stopped thinking about, Binding 13. Something happened when I read this book and I just love it. Don't think I ever will stop thinking about it. Also, these two, definitely my favorites out of the whole series, and I do think about these a lot still. And I finished these at the beginning of the year, I think, but I still think about these like almost every day. The cringiest book that I read would have to be The Ex-Hex, and I did enjoy this book. There's just something that I really don't like that it did, and that would be one of the main characters. She doesn't curse because like her mom doesn't let her or something like that, so she just says like those really cringy filler cuss words. I know she said like a mother faxing, like a fax machine, and I was just like, I don't know, it just really cringed me out, and I hate whenever book characters do that. Like, just say frick. The highest rated books of 2023, which you can probably guess already because it's kind of the same thing as I haven't stopped thinking about them because they're my highest rated reads. That would be Binding 13, Akamoth, Akawar. I love them so much. My lowest rated read is a book that I read on my Kindle. It is Goddess of the Broken, and I read this in my video that I read fantasy for a week, and it was just like a little filler fantasy book that I found on Kindle that was pretty short, and I did not like it. It was like 198 pages, so I know that you can do good with that short of a book because of Six Scorched Roses. I loved that book, and it was just a short little novella, so I know it's possible, but I just really did not like this book, and it was so quick with everything that was happening, and I just didn't have time to connect to the characters or even like understand what was happening. Now this book, so you go on Goodreads and it will show you the highest rated book on your shelf, like what you read. If that makes sense, I'm doing terrible at explaining it, but this book has a 4.67 star average, and that is A Court of Mist and Fury. I agree. I think that this book should have like 5 stars even, but it deserves this rating. Like, it deserves such a high rating. I love this book, as you can tell. So good. So that is my 2023 book tag. Like I said, there will be more books that I will read this year. It just won't be in this video. So go follow my Goodreads in the description if you want to see what other books that I read this year, what I rate them. This year was a very good reading year, although I haven't met my reading goal yet. I plan to within a week. I don't know if I will do it. And even if you only read like 5 books this year, if you enjoyed those books, it was a good reading year, okay? Like, it really does take a lot of time to read, especially if you're a slow reader like me. I'm such a slow reader, it's actually insane. But yeah, I really enjoyed all of the books that I read this year, and in 2024, I don't know what my reading goal is going to be. I haven't really thought about it too much. I'm thinking like 50 or 60 books because I don't want to say like 100. I don't want to be humbled too bad, and I want to branch out more into the thriller and sci-fi genres. I don't think I've read a sci-fi before. I only read like fantasy. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Comment what your favorite book that you read was this year. Like this video if you enjoyed it. All my socials are linked in the description, along with Destiny's video with all the questions and her books. I love her channel. And yeah, I will see you in my next video. Bye!